Hello and welcome back to another video. So, this is my M4A1 76 Sherman. I have just released it on the workshop a couple of days ago. It is essentially a sort of conversion of my old M4A1 that I released on workshop about a year ago. A year and a half ago. Almost. It's been a while. But basically, it's a conversion from that, the M4A1 with the smooth casted hull, over to a 76 version instead of the 75mm. As well, it has some minor decoration changes and mechanical changes, of course. Decoration being, there were some tools that were hanging on the side here. I removed them just because the system I had there was not really that great. But anyway, moving on, I'm just going to give you a little tour of the vehicle, show you how it works, some of its neat little features and everything. And that'll be that. It'll be on the workshop, of course, like I said. Link will be in the description, and you can get to it there. You can now also go to my Discord if you want to see me working on my M3 Lee, which is, of course, another conversion sort of deal like this. Or possibly Fury from the movie, of course. All in due time, though, as well as my Abrams or Fresh Spring, whatever. So hopping up onto the front, you'll see we have a little star insignia here. I always thought that was kind of neat. Some lights for the headlight. You have the coax or bow gunner machine gun, I mean. And you have the two hatches for the co-driver and driver. That's a little bit of a tight squeeze with the mantle right here. But you can open up the hatch and then hop into the driver's seat. We're not going to do that yet, though, because we're going to go upwards. Moving on, you have the main gun here, with its mantlet for the 76. Over here, you have a little spotlight here for viewing. You also have the gunner's unity sight, or periscope sight, whatever you want to call it. On the side here, we have the loader's hatch. Amazing, a loader finally gets its hatch. I can open up that like so. That also has its own periscope as well. You also have the tank commander's hatch, which of course you can open up. Moving to the back, just minor details. You also have the 50 cal machine gun mounted at the back, as well as some other details and racks and everything that were present on the 76mm M4A1. Some kind of vent covers. You also have the rear here. So you have your main access door here, as well as your exhaust. You also have some jerry cans on the side, and of course your air filter here. And that's really for the exterior, so we'll move on inside. So we'll go through the tank commander's hatch. You see it has the vision cupola. Cupola, however you want to pronounce it. And we can sit down onto the seat. So, if you look forward, we have a variety of periscopes to look through. We have front and center, right and left. Left's not really useful, as the loader's periscope kind of gets in the way. But oh well. You also have the rear periscope, which is a little bit hard to see out of. But you can see out of it. And of course, a Stormworks mission popped up. I'm not going to do it, because they're bad. At the rear of the turret here, we have the commander's radio. This is a transceiver and receiver. Because of the state of Stormworks multiplayer, I don't really make my radios work. Usually I try to make them work, but I don't really test them, as for obvious reasons. So, if you could find a use for it, I'm pretty sure this doesn't even work though. I don't think I hooked it up when I made the new turret. Oh well. Moving on from the radio, some other things for the commander. You can also open up the hatch from inside with this button. And you also have the override traverse, meaning you can turn the turret left and right without approval from the gunner. So if you can see a target on the periscope, you can just call it out and then actually start moving for the gunner. Alrighty, we'll go move over to the loader's position. I'm gonna elevate the gun a little bit just so you can see it. Alright, loader's position. There used to be a seat here for the older M4A1, but I removed it for the 76. Main reason is just new turret design. There was a pivot that was going to like rotate it, but since the 76 doesn't have really a turret floor for the loader, I had to get rid of that. But speaking of the turret basket, basically you have a fire extinguisher there, then the seat for the gunner, and some other foot pedals and motors for the traverse. In front, you have the option to load the gun. This has been rehauled from my earlier version, so it'll take about 5 seconds to actually load the gun. Of course, you just hear a beep. That would have been an actual noise when this was released, or at least the M4A1 was released. But of course, the devs after 1.0 broke that, so that doesn't work. Same with the 50 cal machine gun. Over here we have lights and an ammo hatch here. So you can open up the hatch, throw some rounds out or in, whatever you want to do. And then you also have the dome light at the top here to provide some light when it's dark, or when all hatches are closed. Although because I'm in the hangar, it's not really that dark. That's it with the turret lights off, or hangar lights off. I can turn on the light again, get a little bit of mood lighting, I guess. That's really it for the loader seat. At the bottom of the floor, you do have some 76mm casings for the main gun. You also have the APU, which is basically just a little generator. I don't think it's called the APU, I forget what it's called. But basically it's just a little generator that you can use to charge the batteries if needed, or create warmth, apparently. Back here, firewall, just little details. You also have your circuit breakers here, in case you need to use them. Although I doubt you'd be taking this up in a lightning storm, so no need to worry about that. Now on to the gunner seat. The gunner does have access to the load gun button, so if you want to use that, you can. Just a little quick thing, just a test fire. So, controls. To your right, you do have the traverse left, traverse right. You also have your elevation, and these buttons are not marked. They should be marked, but they're not. I'm going to go fix that after this video. And you also have the main gun sight with your ranging ticks here. You also have the unity sight, or the periscope sight. Basically, it's a periscope in this section, and then there's a little sort of sight here that extends upward, or at least magnifies this area here. A little hard to explain, but that's basically how it works. On the left here, you do have the fire button. Breaker reset, that does nothing. Safety does block the fire button. So if I raise this up, and then I can use the safety, and then press the button. And see, it does recoil it back pretty fast, so it's kind of hard to see unless you're not in the gunner seat. But yeah, that's really it. With the gunner seat at least. Basic controls. I was thinking about adding a stabilizer system, as the Sherman did have it. Although most crews didn't even use it anyway, so... And it's kind of confusing in Stormworks, so I'm not even going to bother with it yet. Might add it if I make the Fury tank. Possibly. Not really sure. But moving on, we'll go to the co-driver seat. So, in the co-driver seat, simple position here, you have your hatch button here, and two periscopes, which are actually, the top one is blocked, and of course you also have that bug from 1.0 as well, where they change the camera orientation so it goes to the wall above you or ceiling. Not preferable, but oh well. I do have an option to fire the 30 cal. Again, it's just a buzzer because the devs broke it in 1.0. To the left, you have the transmission taking up a lot of space. and ammo bins right there, and to the side here, as well as to the rear. And you'll notice that all of the ammo racks on the side sponson have been removed. That is, of course, because you want to get that wet storage for the 76mm. But that's really it for the co-driver's position. Not much to actually do here, except for look through a tiny periscope. I do have the escape hatch at the back here, but it is non-functioning. So we'll move over to the driver's seat. At the driver's position, you have an option of plenty of control. At the right here, you do have the parking brake, which you can set there. You'll see the lever actually moves. You also have the gearbox, which you can cycle like that. Which, of course, that actually moves as well. So to actually get the engine started, you'll have to go over to here, the fuel cutoff. You're going to want to flick that up and then hold the starter button. It's kind of a more simpler way of starting it because it is a radial engine, so if you just did that in real life, you'd probably hydrolock, or I guess it would be hydrolocking because the oil would be filling up the bottom cylinder, which will then cause it to essentially explode. But I don't really have that system on there, so this will have to do. Might add it in my M3 Lee I'm working on. Might not, who knows. So anyway, see now the engine is running. You also have a little fan in there that gives a little bit of a sucking noise, since this is air cooled, or at least supposed to. I only have one radiator in it though. So it does get a little hot, but I did lower the RPM, so it should not get to 248, which is exploding temperature in Stormworks, or Fahrenheit. I do have the panel light switch. Convoy lights, those don't work because I removed it. Headlights, of course, you have at the front, in case you need to drive at night. Fuel gauge selector does nothing, and that's really it for that side. At the bottom we have the two tillers. Steer left, you'll pull back the left one. Steer right, pull back the right one, and so on and so on. Now to actually get moving, you're going to hold down the right up-down key. You're going to hold it down, and then press the 1 key. Then you're going to release the up-down key, and then give some throttle. You'll see I'm moving pretty slowly. That's just because gear 1 is geared pretty heavily. I can do it again to get into gear 2. Do it again to get into gear 3. And then into gear 4. At lower speeds, when you turn right or left, the track will actually brake. But at higher speeds, it'll actually just use clutch. So then we can go into 5th gear. Just like so. You'll see when I steer, it's actually a little bit more gentle than the braking. Speaking of braking, you can hold down S to brake. And of course you can kill the engine if you stay in for 5th gear. So get it back started up. We'll push up the button. You'll see the clutch clutch pedal actually works. And that's the basic driving of the vehicle. Of course, you could try this out in multiplayer and have the driver be in first person the whole time with the commander actually guiding them where to go. Of course, I don't really play multiplayer because it's, you know how it is. But that is always possible to do. Tank does have a lot of sub-body, if that's the right word for them, so it might be a little bit laggy in servers. I did, however, redo the paint job, so it should be a little bit less laggy, although probably not by much. You can check the bodies there. It's not great at the front. Sides is okay. Back is okay. Turret is no. And of course I killed the engine again. But that's really it for that. I'll put in the parking gear. Or parking brake, I mean. But yeah, that's really it. I'm just gonna TP out of here. Go mess with the 50 cal. That's really it for this, so link will be in the description, as well as my Discord if you'd like to join that, and I'll see you in the next video.